Give me
Sadly predictable.
Sadly predictable, and we didn't predict it. Dan actually got it right, so it's one for me, one for Dan, and sadly,
nothing for me.
You haven't got any, Ben. And basically what's happened, so the first game, UOL Team 1 lost. The UOL Tigers lost to very competitive Team C, the team that lived up to their name.
Surprisingly competitive Team C.
Surprisingly competitive Team C. And again, another team that led up to the name, Phil Brown's boys. Phil Brown popped off. His that play was impeccable. We expect to go differently this game in terms of pick ban.
We expect that Phil Brown's boys will not get Phil Brown on Zach.
Yes.
Very quickly.
Team C will never get Rengar or Kennen. They will not be allowed Rengar or Kennen the rest of the series.
Okay, before we go and pick ban, we're going to have the player walk on and we're going to head over to it now.
And a warm welcome to both teams. It's finally here. We are here for the grand finals. A fantastic best of 3 series hopefully coming up. I want to speak to both captains, starting with you, Lewis. How does it feel to be here in the finals, knowing you're that one step closer? To being the #1 team in Leicester.
I'm really happy to be here. I think we're going to do very well.
And to you, Joe?
I'm very happy to be here. I hope we're going to do very well.
So you've had time to watch your opponents. Have you learned anything? Have you changed anything? Or do you just think it's going to be easy?
I mean, hopefully it'll go quite well. I mean, quite a lot of us went out and grabbed some fish and chips.
There seems to be no issue at all. Okay, Ancient Black seems to clean this stage with no problem. Let's see, color HUD. So we have a pseudo boss there, if it isn't the boss. Okay, so easy kill by Mikami. Maybe it was just the something. Okay. Color HUD resorting on freezing the boss, but it took a bit of time. So, but he managed to defeat him still. So, if I'm not mistaken, we are going into the last report of the game. So, And we have the green suit. The suits are just for defense. They do not add anything into the game. The only thing we need to collect, or they are collecting, is power-ups to the pole that Mikami have on her hands that will give special abilities to either have a more special attack attached on it. So the Killer Hood had some troubles in early level, which will give a bit of lead for Angie, furthering more of what we already have. So let's see. So Angie finishing the section just fine. Now Mikami is entering the cave. Let's see how well he fares on it. Okay, he had to take a bit of safety cake there to refill life. That might come into play or collect the boss is power up with low health unless there is some cakes around. So fill it. Have found one that would give spec Killer Hood having almost all his health. He will be able to damage bullets his way around. Okay, Angie taking a bit of safety, most likely knowing he's has played very well so far, and having only 2 health. He cannot afford to go reckless. Oh, Killer Hood on his last heart, but unfortunately the safety stuff there. So now they're under the boss. Let's see how they fare on it. Oh, Angie missing some hits on it. This boss seems to be a bit of a trolly guy. Okay, so apparently now Killer Hood has the advantage, having the rat on earlier. Maybe Angie having to take a bit of safety and missing some shots on the boss made him slow down. And now Killer Hood has the lead, taking the lead on the 6th report. Okay, so now they're going into the 7th report. Now I do believe this is the last one. But Killer Hood coming out. Out the bushes for the lead. So let's see how he fares now. Not sure if he knows he has the lead now. Oh, an unfortunate death by Angie, missing the jump. That's so unfortunate. That will give Killer Hood a bigger lead. Please, not like this is fine. Spam, please. Not like this is fine. So Killer Hood continuously generating the platforms for reaching higher stuff. And Angie having a bit of trouble on that section. That's so unfortunate, having him played so well and missing up apparently trivial stuff. Now Killer Hood going into the boss. He seems to be fighting now a younger version of generated by that horse creature. So let's see how he fares on that. Apparently he got a bit of trolled by the boss there, giving some lightning that Killer Hood did not have. But he finished the fight just fine. So 20 minutes and 48 seconds for Angie Black. Also not a bad time at all, considering the marathon run. So congratulations to both. Let's see if they want to. Not sure how are we on schedule. Okay, so we are just about on schedule to start the next run, but congratulations both Killer Hood and Angie Black for the amazing display of Mikami Yoreishi wa Nice Body. Sorry about my Japanese. It's pretty rusty. So now we should be setting up for the next race. So of course, congratulations Killer Hood, congratulations Angie Black for the amazing race. Now we should be setting up for the Addams Family race that will be going up right now by Garbanzo Guy and Indrak Pack. All bosses that will be fairly that will be really interesting to watch. So as soon as I get any confirmation that runners and commentary for that race are up, we're gonna leave that to them so they can carry on. Again, thank you so much for watching SNES Superstar, the Super Nintendo Marathon, dedicated for all the Super Nintendo games possible, for the most known to most obscure ones, hosted here in Speed Gaming. Of course, now exclamation mark SNES should, or exclamation, be setting up for the next race. So of course, congratulations Killer Hood, congratulations Angie Black for the amazing race. Now we should be setting up for the Addams Family race that will be going up right now by Garbanzo Guy and Indrak Pack. All bosses that will be fair. Exclamation mark YT, that will then send you to our YouTube playlist. That will be really interesting to watch. Okay, we can hear some noise. Apparently we are ready to go to the Adams family.
I believe we switched over.
So as soon as they get any confirmation that runners and commentaries for that race are up, we're gonna leave that to them. I would appreciate you hanging out with us so they can maybe carry on. Again, thank you so much for watching SNES Superstar. Thank you guys. Go ahead. The Super Nintendo Marathon dedicated for all the Super Nintendo games possible, for the most known to most obscure ones, hosted here in Speed Gaming, of course. Now, exclamation mark SNES or exclamation be setting up.
You guys can do the countdown and start racing anytime you like.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. We need to be moved to on air though.
Oh, my bad. Sorry, I'll move us over.
For the next race, so of course, congratulations Killer Hut, congratulations NG Black for the amazing race.
So okay,
Now
so we're ready to start.
Be setting up.
I'm ready.
Okay, well, okay. Oh,
For
cab.
the Adams family race.
So okay, so
that will be going
okay,
up
so
right
I guess
now
we'll start
by
in
Gargantua
5,
and
4,
Intract Hack.
3, 2,
All
1,
bosses.
go.
That will be fair.
Right, so this is the all bosses category of Adam's Family. If you saw this at
That would be really interesting to watch.
AGDQ recently, that was the any person category, which makes use of some glitches to jump basically
So
straight
as soon
to
as they get any
in-game as early as
confirmation,
possible.
runners and commentaries
This
for that
is,
race
I guess,
are up.
more faithful,
We're gonna leave.
a more faithful interpretation of the game because you're actually beating the bosses as expected, which means that you end up making it to the end of the game without any glitches, with all of the expected heart containers
That to them.
and everything that goes along with
So they can maybe carry on.
beating all of the
Again,
bosses in the
thank
game.
you so much for watching.
In the
SNES
run that was at
Superstar.
AGDQ with
Thank you,
the
guys.
any percent
Go ahead.
glitch, or with the glitches that involve beating at any percent, you end up getting these speed shoes that end up stacking,
Super Nintendo Marathon.
and that sort of
dedicated
speed
for
helps you
Oh.
clip through walls and things like that. In this category, it's all about getting the speed shoes and using the sword, but it's a little more expected that you're going to
all
lose
the
those over the
Super
course of the
Nintendo
run.
games possible.
So you see, they already
for
beat the first
most known
boss,
to most
which is
obscure
Bird,
ones, hosted
and they're
here
working their
in
way through the
Speed
ice
Gaming,
area.
of course. Now, exclamation mark.
Also, I fucked up
SNES.
with my timer, but yeah, never mind.
So okay, this is really hard to get through without losing the sword at some point. This part.
For exclamation.
Yeah. Okay, I usually lose
Setting
mine
up.
at this point. The icy steps.
You guys can do
I usually
the
come into
countdown
here.
and start racing anytime you like.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. We need to be moved to on air though. Yeah. So this is a pretty precise jump here in the icy steps. Okay, there. Got it.
Oh yeah, but definitely. I can see what you mean.
Yeah.
And everything's over spikes in this section, so.
Yeah. I'm one away from being able to get another heart. You get another heart at 25, 50, and 70. $5 signs. I'm just gonna take the potential death here to restore my health. Because
yeah, so deaths in this game aren't terribly costly. You usually either restart the room or restart some checkpoint if it's a particularly large room.
Yeah. So in the next area coming up, there will be a pretty precise jump off of a bird that I have to do. Okay, good, I got it. Like,
it's amazing how much content this game actually has that for someone like me who has only ever run the any percent category, both of these guys have run all bosses mostly. I mean, historically, any percent only just recently was the glitch that allowed for any percent was only made RTA viable like less than a year ago.
Yeah, well, yeah, well, you could still run any percent. It was just like there wasn't as much of a difference between it. Like any percent.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
It involved like rescuing the family members but not getting the hearts. Okay, this could be bad.
Yeah, it used to be that you would only... I guess there are bosses that are involved with it to rescue the family members, but you didn't do all the rest of the bosses.
Yeah, yeah. So that was actually
90% lets you clip through walls. So
yeah. Oh, this could be bad actually. Oh, God, that was close. So okay, now that we have 5 hearts, we're gonna go and rescue the family members. So the rest of the run, a lot of it isn't really too bad because you have a lot of hearts. Okay, so if you enter that the wrong way, you could end up being teleported back because, like, the way the physics work is pretty strange.
yeah, so this game is I guess in a lot of ways, I mean it's a platformer, but it's more, I guess you could think of it as like Metroid style or one of the later Castlevania styles in the sense that there's not really an overworld and stages or anything like that. You have to travel yourself all over the place, so this category does end up seeing a lot of the actual world of this game, and it's fairly expansive.
Yeah. You still don't see, like, the entire thing, because there are actually still quite a few skips within the things you can do, but still.
So how tough is it actually to keep your speed shoes throughout the entirety of this run? Like what are the big issues? Because I know sort of how that works in any percent, but in all bosses, like
it's actually harder because this game is very cool, but all the hitboxes are sometimes so weird that it's...
Yeah. I'm coming up to like what would probably be the hardest thing to do to keep speed shoes plus sword. In this game, like in our bosses, like so, like well, first I'll explain like how precise the jumps are in the first place. So in this area, like you have to do like precise jumps, and with the way the momentum works with double speed shoes, whatever, I'll just do this. But yeah, with the way momentum works with double speed shoes, it's like really hard to do it. Like you see how you have to do those jumps here.
Sure. A lot of the platforming and just general level design is really brutal in this game.
Yeah.
Do you do the order of the stages in a particular way to give you more health during the harder parts and less health during the easier parts? Or
well,
is there any thought given to that, or is it basically the overworld is designed in such a way that you need to do it in a certain order?
It's basically so that like you try to have
Do you do the order of the stages in a particular way to give you more health during the harder parts and less health during the easier parts? Or
well,
is there any thought given to that, or is it basically the overworld is designed in such a way that you need to do it in a certain order?
It's basically so that like you
order of the stage in a particular way to give you more health in the harder parts and less health during the easier parts? Or
Well,
is there any thought? Given to that, or you do the order of the stage in a particular way to give you more health in the harder parts and less health during the easier parts? Or
well,
is there any thought? Given to that, or
that you are creating in games?
Yeah, you know, I think we've done so Gumball, Regular Show, Adventure Time, Steven, Powerpuff. Every game we kind of go into really either already being fans of the show or becoming very huge fans right when we start. And this kind of speaks to what you guys are talking about as well. And I think our approach is always twofold. On one hand, we want to get the true voice of the show and make something that fans really love. But on the other hand, we also want to introduce something a little new. Which kind of speaks to what you're saying. We try to inject either our own characters or our own kind of situation or challenge, and really in a way that we feel is true to the show to give the players kind of a new experience. And usually, as much as we can, the blessings of creators really lack collaboration, making it happen. And we get super attached. Actually, I want to give a quick shout out to anyone who's a wiki person or a wiki contributor. We actually use those to research the shows. So anyone out there who contributes to those, thank you. That's helpful. But yeah, it's very important just to be true to the shows and the voice of the shows.
Why did you choose to make a sequel to Attack of the Light?
Attack the Light is probably our favorite game and our favorite show, honestly. Steven, we've been just in love with it for so long. Like I said earlier, we love working with the show creators, and the reception has been amazing. When we make a game, we put it out there, we don't expect people to like it. You know, so when people do love it and like respond to it, it's like just an amazing thing, and it really fuels us. And on this one, I'm so happy it's out there because we're keeping it secret for a while. But yeah, I love everything about Steven. The artwork, the characters, and the lore. It's nice to have a show that has some mythology to it, secrets and mysteries. The game will kind of deal with some of that a little bit. So yeah, I love all of it.
Chris Waldron, obviously you've worked with Grumpy Face a couple of times now. It's so funny seeing Grumpy Face. Look at this happy man over here. He doesn't look grumpy at all.
Ironic.
It's misleading. But what kind of stuff do you look for in studios that you want to work with?
I mean, I think you just kind of nailed it, really. It has to start from a point of view. Can you guys hear me okay? You kind of nailed it, is that we're looking for studios with a similar aesthetic, like somebody who's can synchronize with what we're talking about, what we're doing. Because again, our shows are a little offbeat. They're not normal. We don't want to go to a shop that just cranks out a lot of games. We want them to have a heart and soul about this. So that's first. Going in there and seeing that you're not just interested in making a more violent zombie shooter, whatever it might be. That's not really who we are. So that's first. And then after that, it's the drill. It's art, design, tech, having all those things going at once. Those are a lot of times we work with a lot of studios that may be good at one, but not so good at one of these others, and then mediocre at the third. But we're kind of blessed here to have people who have all of that. And so some of the best studios that we've worked with can kind of bring in all of that together. And then finally, we're looking for, in the initial conversations we had with them, of are you adding more to this conversation, right? Like I was saying earlier, it's like the game isn't just a clone of the show, isn't just sort of repeating what the show's already done. It has to add to the competition, it has to add to the experience, add to the world, make people feel like, hey, it may be in a different medium, but it's just like watching another episode. It's just like reading another book about the same. It continues to evolve, and that means that the team has to be engaged and passionate about it. So those are the things, and we really look hard for these folks, and they're some of the best that we've found.
So how closely do you actually have to work? And are you having long phone calls every single day? Are you showing builds constantly? Obviously this is really important to keep the property true. Obviously you have the passion, so that totally helps with that. But how often do you guys go back and forth and say, this doesn't work, this does? Is that a huge conversation?
Yeah, I mean, our team talks to Ian and Toby every single week. So every week we have a weekly chat where we just say, here's what's new, and we bounce ideas off them. And because I'm always focused on story and giving true context to the missions that feels right with the show, I'm always bouncing ideas off them. And what's been so cool working with those guys is, we just clicked right away. And so many times I'll be like, we're thinking of doing this, and they're like, oh man, we've got an episode that's going to do exactly that. We're like, what? So we talk to them every single week, and what's so cool is they're just really, I think they're really happy to press pause on the chaos of making a wicked show and just hear about the game. What's going on with the game, guys?
They're all gamers too.
And they're super,
That's a big thing, honestly.
Yeah, and they're also gaming encyclopedias.
Yes.
I'll give them an idea. They're like, oh yeah, that's the Astro Boy game for Game Boy Advance. And I'm like, okay, all right, I gotta look that up. And that's the other cool thing is that they're definitely contributing to the game. They're not just checking off boxes are you being true to this or that. They're giving ideas, they're giving opinions on the story.
Taking fire. Ну и вот, возможно, из этой потери можно что-то выжить, ведь Севиль великолепно действует в контратака. Монтоя направо напрашивается. Мариано разнит свой правый фланг, но Тито подставляется. Зарабатывает свободный удар. Мариано не понимает, что обращается к боковому арбитру, но собственно уже заигран. Вопросом, каковы перспективы, в первую очередь, в Лиге Чемпионов. У Севильи, ну, существенно два интереса. И по заявлению самого намного легче, если победу хозяева тогда. Но у Севильи Джинварди англичане сумели ввести. Вот, добиться более приемлемого сумели добиться Алисы. Ну а теперь у Севильи большая задача. Перед ними стоит Мариано на правом фланге. Васкес. Сиовас. Вот здесь уже Бек не сдерживается. Подталкивает и нарушает правильно. Очень интересная связь центральных защитников у Лиганеса, Сиовас и Монталани. Сиовас долгое время выступал в Греции за известный клуб, разумеется, Олимпиакос. Ну а что касается Монталани, то он почти всю свою жизнь провел в Испании, сознательно развивая свою большую часть своей футбольной карьеры, перебрался из Аргентины. И об этом опять же чуть позже. Пробовал свои силы в первую очередь в Атлетико, но оказался здесь вместе с Лиганесом, вышел в Ла Лигу. Последует чувственная передача. И все низкорослые футболисты Севильи уже в штрафной площади на ближнюю штангу. Рин набивает мяч, сразу же удар. Зарабатывает Севилья. Неохватно. Корнер в долгий ящик, сразу устанавливает мяч. Севилья на вес. Теперь Рин должен забрать мяч. И с нарушением правил. Здесь действует футболисты Севильи. Напомнить на Монталай. Долгое время пробовался он в Атлетико. И Кубок Васкес. Так не сложилось. Ночевал он не на вокзале, ночевал практически на улице. И вот здесь уже носом его добился, зацепился, подталкивает и остался в третьем дивизионе. Сюда же Ганеса вместе с этим скромным клубом и Монталани. Движение Сиос долго отвечал сам, что принципиально известно. Матрасина, что касается Ганеса, озорил ничью со счетом 0-0. Это было одним из самых больших достижений в начале сезона.